Yeah, we're not doctors or scientists. We're from a different camp. But we're delighted to be here nonetheless, and there's two of us. So firstly, just to say it's an absolute honour to be here. I remember the first time we talked to medical professional people, we were...
Dave spent the whole day so nervous. He was like, oh my God.
I really did. I was so nervous, and Steve was saying, listen, they're just people that eat. Get over yourself, Dave. So I was like, okay,
and they were incredibly supportive, so it was wonderful. In terms of those who don't have any idea why there's two people in shorts wearing bright coloured t-shirts standing to talk to you, we'll give a small little bit of background about us. So we're twin men, we were once twin boys. We're identical. I'm Stephen, I normally wore a red t-shirt, and Dave was normally a blue t-shirt.
That's not relevant now.
That's true anyway. We're from a small little island called Ireland. We went to an all-boys school. We'll give a little highlights just so for those of you who are wondering who the hell are these. We went to all-boys school, we went to university, we studied business. Well, you didn't study
Can
business.
I say something?
No.
Can I shift just for 1 second?
Okay, sure.
So like we were, as teenagers, we were total meat and two veg men. We played semi-pro rugby. We were kind of super competitive, being identical twins. As you can see, we're competing for your attention now. And I guess we totally bought into the external pressures of, yes, Steve, let's be successful. Yes, go next, more. We totally bought into that. And we went to university and studied business, and obviously being hyper-competitive, identical twins, we're like, right, Steve, we're going to make so much money. This was the kind of goal. And kind of after a little bit, we kind of started questioning things a little bit. And we were playing semi-pro rugby, we were doing male modelling, we were both like, 2 and 3 in golf. We were overachievers in so many different ways. And then one day Steve just said, I don't know, like I feel a little hollow, like I feel like I want to go away, have a divorce from me, have a divorce. And I want to buy a one-way ticket somewhere, and I'm not going to come back till I'm happy. And so Steve went on this voyage of self-discovery, and at the time I said, okay, I'm going to go try and be a golf pro. So this is back in 2001. And we both went off on our separate little journeys. And lo and behold, the seed had been planted before we left. This is back in 2001. It was the first time we'd lived away from home, like from an Irish mammy. We just stayed whatever our mammy cooked. An Irish ma, you get loved by, she
means mother.
Ma means mother, yeah. Like an Irish mammy transfers her love via her food. So it was like, yes, absolutely, I will have more roast beef, Mom. Yes, absolutely. So we just ate whatever was given to us, and we didn't question it. And we went away the first time by ourselves, and for the first time it was like, I wonder at the impact of this food, how it affects me. So
tell me a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a little story. I remember I found my way to Vancouver, and I found my way up to Whistler, and I met a guy from Greystones, our little town, who happened to be living there, and he said I could sleep and hit the floor of his little apartment because I didn't have much money. And I was in his apartment, and it was this cool Australian dude. He was a total dude, and he was cooking dinner, and he was cooking these things called lentils. And I didn't know what the hell a lentil was. A sweet potato, and somehow he'd managed to milk a coconut. So it was coconut milk. And, I didn't have an idea what this type of food was. And I asked him, could I taste his soup? And I tasted, it was like, whoa, lentils are deadly. I didn't know you could eat this stuff. And we kind of started a little conversation, and lo and behold, he told me he was a vegetarian. And up until that point, I didn't know men could be vegetarians. Being from, we played a lot of rugby, and we grew up in a very male-orientated kind of environment that I'd never met a man that was a vegetarian, and it was like, you're a what? This type of thing. So it was big news. So we spent the next couple of years experimenting with diet, trying to see if we could literally eat ourselves to enlightenment.
We both ended up becoming vegetarian and then vegan, and then we got into raw food and fasting and cleansing. It was really just a curiosity to see the effect of food and how it affected us mentally, physically, emotionally. And I guess we ended up leaving as, we were total quintessential jocks. We had short hair, we used to wear off-brand shirts, we were good lads. Everyone in our small little town were like, the lads are great, they're really going places. And we came back 2 years later as, we were vegan. We did yoga, we had top knots, we had beards, we wore polyester shirts, we wore trinkets and beads, and we had strong offensive body odors, and we were vegans. So obviously, coming from a small little town, this was like, Jesus, the lads have really lost their way, haven't they? And lo and behold,
we went one step further. We decided we wanted to start a fruit and veg shop. I was like, what the hell?
Can I tell one little bit?
Yeah.
I remember, at the time, Steve calls me up one day, so he was living in France, and he says, Dave, I got this idea. Do you want to start a health food revolution? I was like, revolution, cool. And I thought we were going to be doing placards, and we were going to be breaking stuff, and yeah, brilliant. And he says, do you want to start a vegetable shop, Dave? It's like, okay, vegetable shop, okay, cool, great. So as we were saying, we came back in 2004, age 24, and we started a vegetable shop. And at the time, it was. We obviously ended up calling it the Happy Pear because there was two of us and we were selling fruit. That was a pun. Did you get it? But I remember, like Stephen wanted to call it a different name because he was like, "This is about higher values. This is about something much more important than selling fruit. It's about selling the revolution." And I remember this day so well. It was November the 26th, 2004, and it was a sunny Wednesday evening, and we were both sitting back. It was 6 p.m. We're leaning back against a car. And the sun was setting. It was a beautiful evening, lovely, and we're both proud as pie because Declan was going to put the signs of our shop, our first shop. This was a monumental moment. And so Declan's up there and he's putting the letters out, and it's like, oh, me and Steve are so excited. And after about 20 minutes, he gets down and he says, lads, like, the letters are too small. Your shop, the name's just going to look crap. Crap means bad. And he said, you're going to have to call it something else. So we called it the Happy Pear. But the name Stephen wanted to call it was, our surname is Flynn, was Flynners. Fruit and veg for social change. so that'll kind of tell you where we're coming from. Like as Stephen often kind of says, he says, we weren't selling carrots, we were selling a better world. You know, which sounds crazy and idealistic, but that was kind of the truth.
And we were, as we said earlier, it's a small little town, and a lot of mum and dad's friends from the golf club and the bridge club, you know, they were, you know, they had us in a little box, and here we were way outside our box. So you'd hear whispers like, definitely selling drugs out the back.
You know, there was a lot of suspicion, and it wasn't just, after a year we set up a cafe, and it wasn't just a cafe, it was a fucking vegetarian cafe. Jeez, those lads have lost their way completely. But I guess it's gone from 2 lads in this crazy-eyed dream to now there's about 130 people work with us. It turned over, I think, about 11 million last year. I think there's...
Yeah, we've 3 cafes, 2 shops, we've a farm, we've written 3 cookbooks. There's loads of it. But today, the bit that we really want to talk to you about is our happy hardcore. So, we're always been madly passionate about vegetables. And you'd be selling veg and you're like, oh wow, you're getting a kabocha squash. Oh my god, that's amazing. How are you going to cook and all this type of thing? And they go, just give me the squash, this type of thing. And true, I guess, start your own cafe. At the time, there was no formal training for anyone who wanted to learn how to, this is 15 years ago, how to cook a whole food plant-based diet. So we hired Doreen Palmer, who was our chef mother. And she was the chef. She'd been a vegetarian chef for 30 years and she taught it. So we kind of quickly trained, you know, if you're running your own restaurant and the highest paid person is a chef and they need a day off and they get sick, you got to learn how to cook. So you quickly learn how to cook. And yes, I know.
Okay, I go.
Okay, right.
And then I remember one day, like I was reading one of Dean Ornish's books at the time, you know, where it was talking about his lifestyle heart trial. And I remember I was reading about it and Steve says to me one day, he says, you know that book you're reading by that doctor? Why don't we see if that works with Irish people? That's what he said. It was like, well, great idea, Steve. So this is back about 10 years ago. It was a Monday morning. I remember I walked into the local doctor, Brendan Cuddy. I knocked on his door. I said, how are you, Bren? He lived a few doors up from Mum and Dad. Knocked on his door. How are you, Bren? Do you know any nurses? And he says, yeah, Angela lives up in Rathdown. So we went up to Rathdown. We knocked on Angela's door. How are you, Angela? Sorry to be calling in at home, but we want to reverse heart disease, and we were wondering if you'd help us. And she said, oh, wow, cool. And Steve said, we'll pay you €50. And she said, okay, great. So we put up signs around the shop and we said, reverse heart disease, skinny, sexy, delicious, and free. And we said 20 people. So 20 people signed up and it was an experiment. We didn't know if it was going to be work. And they came along the first night and Angela, the nurse, measured everyone's cholesterol, weight, and blood pressure. So we had starting measurements. And they all came upstairs to us, and our skill set is food. Like, we started a food business with chefs. So we decided, okay, let's put people on a low-fat, whole food, plant-based diet for 4 weeks. This is what Dean says works. Let's try it. So we tried it, and of course, it was Irish people, so it was meat and 2 veg. It was 10 years ago. It was like, what? And we cooked loads of food, got them to taste it, and get them to, you know, porridge for breakfast, vegetable soups, salads, dals, chilies. You know, it was really kind of a food education course. And you'd put on videos of men and women in white coats with stethoscopes because it gave a bit more validation. And I remember it really was like, it was really about trying to make them feel good and positive association. No, you're not on a diet. This is a culinary adventure, you know, and whatever. And that was the kind of the dogma we were feeding. And I guess they came once a week for 4 weeks. And on the last night, I remember me and Stephen were very quiet because we were like a pair of preachers going, yes, absolutely, hail vegetables, you know. And by the end, we were like, oh, I don't know if this is going to work, Steve. I don't really, you know.
And we really felt like we were putting everything on the line. Like, if this didn't work, it was like, oh my God, maybe I'll start a butcher shop or something. Like, you know, you were really testing your ideals.
Like you were, like it really was. And I remember, thankfully, there was an average drop of cholesterol at 20% across the 20 people. There was everyone lost weight. was even 2 blind people who unbelievably were able to see again. It was fucking amazing. That was a joke, by the way. Thank you for laughing. And I guess we ended up doing the classroom course for about 2 years until there was lots of media attention. There was, I think, a couple of people from the Irish Times and Independent did it, and there was lots of media attention. And it got so popular that we built an online course.
And it got too busy where we were having to do it too much, and we wanted to do other things. So we built an online course, and we thought, oh my God, online course, great, this is going to change the world. It didn't. But subsequently, we've had about over 20,000 people have done the course from over 100 different countries throughout the world. And every day we're reminded just the impact of diet. Like we had a little Happy Heart meetup group recently. And you know, you're always surprised the demographic that come along. You think they're all going to be millennials in their little yoga pants. But there was kind of a lot of kind of inner city, kind of tough, working Dublin taxi men at it. It was like his daughter had made him do it, and he came along and he was like, I'm not a vegan, I'm not into this crap. You know, he had kind of a thick accent. But I did it for a week, and then I kind of lost a bit of weight, and I did it for another week, and I felt better. And by the end, my cholesterol came down, came off my medication, feel way better. Jeez, I'm a vegan. It's weird. You know, and he said, I'm worried I'll be doing yoga next. You know, and it's funny when you've heard this time and time again, but I guess our reference point has been not from the medical point of view, but just in the practical application of food, because ultimately it's about eating tasty food, because the allure of, we're all hardwired for fat and sugar. Like, we love it. I see my kids, they're like baby mammals. They're fighting, they spend their whole day trying to manipulate sugar out of me. Daddy, I'm really hungry. I'm really, really hungry. Please, can I have something nice? Would you like some carrots? No. Can I have a biscuit? No. You know, but it's like we're all hardwired for fat and sugar. So our whole thing has been about just trying to educate people to eat more fruit and veg in any way possible. Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. We talk about. I guess I can talk about. Like, do you want to talk about tips for health and happiness?
No.
No. Okay. Right. Okay. We get that. Subsequently from doing the Happy Heart course, and I guess it's having a real positive impact and being something people can do throughout the world from their own home. And the bit that we found most important was community support. Because as you're all well aware, if you want to make any lifestyle change, what's most important is having community support, the loved ones around you supporting you, because as the expression goes, you become the product of the 5 people you spend most amount of time with.
And
so
even if you look at the blue zones, where there's the longest living people in the world, they say what really makes it easy is when the healthy choice is the easy choice. Because the easy choice nowadays is getting donuts, it's eating a chocolate bar, it's having a latte. Those are all the easy choices. But I think it's what we try to do with the Happy Heart course is try to really encourage community, particularly with family, friends, online community, whatever kind of way that there's support in your life. Because nowadays, as with obesity and all these type of things, it's really just a product of our environment.
Okay.
Thanks a million.
Okay, I'm going to go. Do you want to do Q&A or else we just keep talking?
You've got another 5 minutes to go, guys.
Okay, keep talking.
Okay, can I tell one thing? I was just going to say one thing.
Okay, right.
So on the back of the Happy Heart course, we built a Happy Gut course, because we partnered with Alan, Dr. Alan. He's a gastroenterologist, because we realised gut health is at the root of everything. And we partnered with Rosie as well. Rosie's here, Rosie, dietitian. We thought, why not try to do a course that's much more rooted? It links between practical food application with medical, like a hybrid model. Our expertise being food, Rosie's being dietetics, and Alan's being digestive health and gastroenterology. So we kind of built a course. It was a 6-week course designed to be practical, where people get on the bus at some point and get off, hopefully a lot healthier at the other. Where it's a process, it's not theory, and very much community based. So we do live Q&As, we do weekly the support groups. We get in and we stir the pot every day. There's, you know, it really is try to encourage a community support, and we've had nearly 2,000 people through it with really positive results in terms of IBS and various other kind of different digestive things. That's been hugely positive. That's inspired us to kind of try to link more between practical food application and other aspects. I know we've got a skin course which we partnered with someone coming out soon, and we've plans for other ones. So that's really exciting.
I'm going to just wrap up. Do you want to do questions or we keep talking?
Well, if you want,
keep going. Okay, right. 3 tips for health and happiness. Okay, everyone in this room, you know, if I ask anyone what do you want for life, some people might go, I want a fancy car. Some people might say, I want a big house. I want to break up with your one or your man or whatever it is. But ultimately, you know, what we all want in life. I'm a father of 3 children. Dave's 2 children. And ultimately what I want for my kids is for them to be happy. So here's just 3 simple things that we found that really benefit our happiness. I think number 1, and that's something that's quite relevant. Right now we've all been sitting for about, sorry, I'm not so good at pronouncing my INGs, but we've all been sitting for an hour. And most people, when they feel a little tired and a bit kind of low in energy. What do we turn to? Oh, lovely sugar.
Yes,
What else?
sugar. But obviously we don't because Dr. Kim is here.
No. What else do we turn to? Yes, coffee. Yes, alcohol. Yes, cocaine. Yes, speed. Whatever your stimulant of choice. But our primary fuel source, given that we're mammals, let's just illustrate it. Can everyone just stand up for a sec? We won't rob anything. Okay, so everyone just jump up and down. Don't worry, everyone, even
Just
kids
jump
do.
up and
Look.
down.
Right,
Yeah!
okay,
Okay, sit down here. So our
Okay.
primary fuel source, as you know, it's not coffee, it's not chocolate, it's actually oxygen. We're mammals and we forget about it because we now live in a very, an easy society where we're set up to be sedentary. We sit in our cars, we do a lot of this, and life has become very comfortable. But according to the blue zones, the longest living people on the planet, they consistently move throughout the day. Hands up who's got young kids here? Okay, yeah. I've got young kids and my dinner at my house takes about 3 minutes because they're not very good at sitting still. Adults, we're world class at sitting still. We've all sat still for an hour and a half. How many times a day do you think young kids smile? Most of the day. Yeah, an average kid will typically smile about 200 times a day. How many times a day do you think adults smile? We're now taking into fact we're world class at sitting. Yeah, somewhere between 15 and 40. So depending on where you are on the scale. But there's a direct correlation. We forget we're mammals. Hands up who's got a dog here. Yeah, when you forget to walk your dog for 3 days, say 3 days. I know, it's blasphemy. But if you do, what happens other than he wheezes and he poos and he does his thing?
Notice.
Yeah.
He sleeps and miserable.
Exactly, he starts looking miserable. Miserable. They start looking lethargic. The poor old devil needs Prozac after a week. And we forget we're mammals. We do. I know we're very sophisticated and we wear suits and we have jobs and we do all sorts of things and we're, striving to be better evolved humans. But we're mammals and we need to move. Movement makes us happy. So point number 1 is to move.
A simple metric, 10,000 steps per day. Very, very simple. Point number 2. Where would I go with this? I'm going to go, okay. In terms of the blue zones, they were trying to isolate. They came out, it was a study done with National Geographic and a whole bunch of scientists led by Dan Buettner. And they were trying to find out what were the most important factors for a long, healthy life. And there were 9 lifestyle factors, and if they were to concentrate them and boil them down into one, what do you reckon it was?
Social environment.
Okay, you've read it before, you're great. Friendship. They say in Western society, typically we've 1.5 close friends where we can be genuinely honest about how you feel. I feel crap. I know in Ireland there's a form of greeting, it's like, how are you? And that's like, how are you? Removed from the local dialect. And most people respond great, good, grand, or crap. That's really the extent of the emotional range. But what they found is that it's really important to express ourselves.
This is about 4 times more than the Londoners.
Okay, Londoners is more.
No, we just
4 times more, you have one emotion.
Yeah, we just say
Fine.
But friendship, community, anything that kind of enriches your life and involves human connection is so important. We live now in an age where leading causes of disease are cardiovascular disease, cancer, etc., etc. But at the root of all those, it's loneliness, it's isolation, it's depression. We're living in a more connected society than ever, but we're missing that face-to-face interaction. So every single person here is weird, unique, special, idiosyncratic. No. The more you can find people that share the similar passions or things that you love in life, the more you're going to feel, I'm not weird, you're weird too. Yes, let's be weird together. And the more joy it brings to your life, and as a result, more purpose and more longevity.
And what I was going to say, back to the kids metaphor, my kids are 5 and 8, and I bring them to the playground, and they go straight in, and they go straight up to someone, and they go, hi, can I be your friend? And they go, yeah. And they've made a friend. It's that simple as kids. But as adults, we're, hi, I'm a doctor, I'm very successful, or hi, I'm a vegetable man, how are you? Whatever it is, And it's a lot harder to make friends, it really is. We've built layers and layers, upon us, but we're all insecure humans. I can only speak for myself here. I'm a highly insecure human that underneath all these layers of, I'm really great, is a sensitive little human that just wants to be loved. It wants to feel connected, and that's what we need to think of. We're all, I don't know where I'm going this one, but yeah.
Good, keep going, that was good.
Thanks for the encouragement. Anything that brings us together and makes us more connected, I think, ultimately makes us feel whole. Because ultimately, no matter how many vegetables and fruit we eat, we're all going to die. And if you were all told you had a week to live here, you probably wouldn't be trying to do, break this or do that or make this amount of money. You'd probably want to call your mom up or your dad up or your best mate and go, how are you? sorry I haven't called you in ages, but I'd love to just hang out. You know, and it's really, ultimately, I think the connections is the real riches in life. So anyway, point number 2 is about connections, humanity, friendship, and all that lovely stuff.
Last and final point, and that's very linked to that. Mum used to make us go to mass as little Irish boys. And we didn't really like going to mass, you know, and she'd make us sit up the front too. And typically we'd eat a lot of processed cereal, bran flakes and all brands, so we'd be a little bit windy. And you know, that brought a little bit of humour, but the only bit that we really enjoyed was the bit at the end,
How are you? Peace be with you.
peace be with you.
You know,
The human connection, the touch, and maybe it was because it was at the end of the mass, it was the signifier that mass is nearly over and you're like, whew. But it was the human connection that we really enjoyed. So,
and I think it's something that we're missing in today's day and age. And what they say nowadays, if everyone will stand up again for us. So, what they say is it takes 3 hugs to survive and it takes 5 hugs to thrive. So a simple thing, if you can turn to 2 people and just give them a hug. And if you want to turn to someone else, give them a hug too.
I'm going to turn to the person beside you, give him a kiss. Let's get it to work now, okay?
I was going to say organic there.
Yeah, let's get it organic.
Do we have time for Q&A or do we need to finish up?
We'll do this. We'll do it at the
Oh,
end.
yeah, cool.
We'll do this big Q&A.
Okay.
So I don't know how to follow.
Alan, I think we need to have them on NHS prescription.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how to follow that, guys. But, I'm impressed. And you know, you talk so much about community, and you know, working with you for the last year, I've just seen how important that is. Interestingly, as medical professionals, when we're trying to get people to adapt these healthy changes, that is just so key. I was lucky enough to sit with Neil Bernard earlier this year and have dinner, and he was just saying the key to their dietary interventions is the same thing: groups, Facebook groups, community, support. And certainly in my own profession, like we're designing a study right now for patients with Crohn's disease, so we're trying to figure out how are we going to give them the same support. So your little class that started up over the veg shop that went online, it's a real model actually for successful dietary interventions. So thank you.
Thank you.